Okay, so the title of this one is Find a Side Length Given the Perimeter and Side Lengths with Variables. Remember, these titles will not be on your knowledge checks, but they do show up in your homework. So the problem that you would get says the perimeter of the rectangle below is 90 units. Find the value of y. So if you notice, you have a side length of 3y plus 3, but in a rectangle, opposite sides are equivalent. So this side has to be the same. And if you have a 4y at the bottom, then you have to have a 4y at the top. So the directions tell me that the perimeter is 90 units, and I know that perimeter means adding up the sides. So I have to take the sides, 3y plus 3 plus 3y plus 3 plus 4y plus 4y, adding up the sides, and that would be equal to the 90 units. So notice that you have some like terms. You've got a 3y, you've got a 3y, you've got a 4y, you've got a 4y, and so we'll add those. So 3 plus 3 is 6, and 4 plus 4 is 8, and 6 plus 8 is 14. So that will give me 14y, and then you can add up your constants. So that's a 3 plus 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and that will be equal to 90. So now I have a simple equation to solve, so I'll subtract 6 from both sides. So I get 14y is equal to 84, and then I'll divide both sides by 14. And again, you can use your calculator for that division. So 84 divided by 14 is equal to 6. So y is 6 units. Okay, or 6. And so that was find the value of y. Now similarly, we've got another topic, and this topic says that I have to find the perimeter or the area. So it's going to ask either or of a rectangle given one of the values. So it's going to give me one, and it's going to ask for one. So my first step is to find out what kind of shape I have, and it says that I've got a rectangle, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. And it says the length is 4 times the width. So I know I'm going to be working with a length and a width. And then it says the area is 256. So the area is 256 feet squared. So to find the area of a rectangle, I would multiply the length times the width. So that means I've got to come up with the two numbers right here. Okay, so two numbers that multiply together to make 256. So how do I find those? Well, I find those numbers from that first sentence. The first sentence helps me out. It says the length is 4 times the width. So if I knew the width, I could do times 4, and that would give me the length, working kind of backwards. So if I knew the width, let's call it W, then I could multiply it times 4, that would be 4W, and then that should give me the length. So now I've got my length and my width, and I know that those two things multiplied together, and they gave me 256. So I will take the 4W times W, and that has to be equal to 256. So this one gave me the area, so notice my setup. Suppose that it had said the perimeter. If it had said the perimeter, then instead of multiplying like this, I would have added all of the sides. Okay? But this one said area, so I have to multiply the length and the width. So 4W times W is 4W squared. And so to get this W by itself, I'll have to divide by 4. And so I get 256 divided by 4, and that gives me 64. So W squared is equal to 64. So if I want to find W, I would take the square root of 64, because W squared means something times something. Something times itself. So what times what is 64? Well, it's 8. So that means that this W had to be 8. Okay? So knowing that, then I know that the width was 8 and the length was 4 times 8, which is 32. So now I know what my width and my length were, and what does the question ask? The question says for me to do what? Find the perimeter. So remember, perimeter is adding up all the sides. So you have to remember that in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal, and so the perimeter is going to be 32 plus 32 plus 8 plus 8. 32 plus 8 is 40, 32 plus 8 is 40, and 40 plus 40 is 80. So it would be 80 feet would be your perimeter.